The first strategy that I had was the preview review strategy. This is a strategy usually associated with bilingual classrooms where a teacher gives a preview of the lesson in the student's home language and then the lesson is taught in English. After it's taught in English, then the material is reviewed in home language. For the preview, active involvement with key vocabulary before the lesson provides English learners with lots of opportunities for understanding. Reviewing vocabulary and main concepts after each lesson is vital for English learners because they're often concentrating on making sense of the language during the lesson. So a review of information after the lesson helps them to identify and remember most important parts. The strategy is effective in facilitating content knowledge through the use of visuals and realia. The first step for a preview review lesson is to plan a lesson by identifying key concepts and vocabulary. So here the teacher would gather any realia or visuals or support materials that will help the students understand the concepts and vocabulary needed to comprehend the lesson. Next, the teacher will introduce key vocabulary and concepts by using materials gathered to introduce the important vocabulary and key concepts during the preview section of the lesson. The focus of this section is to familiarize students with key vocabulary and concepts. For example, if a teacher was teaching about The Great Gatsby, she could introduce her students with pictures of costumes from the 20s, or play music or video clips of the time period to engage the students in role-playing to act out vocabulary that they'll encounter in the reading. Next, the teacher will teach the actual lesson, referring to the support materials and key vocabulary already introduced during the preview. After the lesson is taught in English, the teacher will review the key vocabulary and concepts, encouraging the students to demonstrate their understanding. So basically, this strategy is effective for English learners because it helps motivate the students to learn. The preview part of the lesson prepares them by introducing vocabulary, and when it's done right, it generates interest in the topic of the lesson. The review section of the lesson gives the teacher an opportunity to make connections, correct misconceptions, and engage students in a celebration of their accomplishments. So the second strategy that I had was integrated curriculum projects. This strategy is an approach to curriculum planning in which knowledge and skills in several curricular areas are combined to accomplish an authentic task. So this approach is appropriate for English learners because of its focus on vocabulary in multiple contexts. So integrated curriculum projects are almost always accomplished in cooperative groups of students working together to create a project. So the steps in this, basically the teacher sets up an authentic project related to science and social sciences curricula, like national or local news events, service project needs in the schools, the community, or even in your own classroom. So some examples of projects could be making the playground cleaner, making the school safer, learning about origins of students and families, and etc. But they need to be grade level appropriate. The students will then work in cooperative groups and divide the work so that each group is responsible for a designated task. The teacher will provide each group with a list of their responsibilities and roles. After the project is complete, it's important to recognize each student's contribution to group planning and project implementation. An example of this would be self-evaluations or group evaluations on each member of the group. So an example of an integrated curriculum project could be if there was a new student from a different country or island coming to the classroom, the students could be interested in learning about the new student's background and home life. So the teacher could create a project for the students to learn about the culture. So the culture, the music, nutrition, geography, social sciences, language arts, and vocabulary that come from wherever the student's from. So the students here are learning about all these different subjects about a new island, and it's basically a fun and effective way to learn because the students are interested in the topic and motivated while learning lots of vocabulary through multiple subjects in the project. So this is also a good way or a good strategy to teach. So that's it.